Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we will be watching the horror movie called 47 Hours to Live. So, let's get started. Turn on subtitles and spoilers ahead. The movie starts and we see Cadence, who's on her phone as she's driving on a busy road. She uploads her pictures online, all while driving, and almost gets herself into an accident. She breathes a sigh of relief, but then she gets hit by a car from behind. Two men get out and start banging on her car. They point at their phone and they say they need to use her phone. They seem desperate, but Cadence doesn't open the door and drives away from them. Soon, one of these two men gets hit by a car, which kills him instantly. After almost getting into an accident, Cadence is still on her phone. She's keeping her followers updated on almost everything, and at this time as well, she almost runs over a girl. The girl who Cadence almost ran over is new to the neighborhood and has recently moved in with her family. Her name is Rose. A few days later, we see that Cadence and Rose go to the same school. Cadence introduces herself to Rose and apologizes for almost hitting her with her car. Rose is new to the school and she is socially awkward to make new friends. Cadence, on the other hand, is outgoing, careless, and has a bad reputation at school. The two of them quickly bond with each other and end up becoming good friends despite the difference in their personalities. One night, they're hanging out in Cadence's room. Rose is searching for a horror movie to watch, but she hasn't found anything interesting. Cadence then tells her about a game she heard of. It's a horror game called 47 Hours, which requires 2 players. It's supposedly a demon summoning game where one of the 2 players gets cursed and only has 47 hours to pass that curse onto someone else. And if they fail to do so, the game ends after the death of the cursed player. Thinking it's just a stupid online game, they decide to play it. They write on a note, "To the darkness, I am bound." They both spill a drop of their blood on the note and burn it. The next step requires them to put a 10-second timer on their phone. One by one, they will recite the spell and pass the phone to the other player. The one whose photo gets captured when the timer ends is the one who loses and gets the curse. They both do exactly as the game suggests, and Rose ends up losing the game as the phone clicks her picture. Now Rose, as per the game, has 47 hours to pass the curse onto someone or else she will lose her life. Even though the game sounds illogical, Rose is a bit worried. She searches online about the game and finds out that many people who have played this game have ended up dead. Reading all of this, Rose gets really scared and her phone starts to vibrate. She gets a call from an unknown number, and when she answers it, all she hears is whispering noises. And to her surprise, a bug gets out of her phone, which scares her off into throwing her phone. Next day, Rose is really nervous and she tells Cadence about everything she saw from last night. Cadence tries to calm her down by saying that it's just a game and she probably is just seeing things because of reading that fake news about the game. Rose also believes that maybe she just saw those things because she overthought the game. After school, they both go to work. Rose goes to the washroom and she feels a weird atmosphere around her. She hears weird noises and then it gets pitch dark. She checks and sees that the doors were shut. She opens the doors and goes back to wash her hands. The door then suddenly shuts on its own and a demon-like figure grabs her from behind. Fear struck, Rose runs out of there and tells Cadence that she saw a demon. Cadence goes in to check and finds a huge cupboard cut out of a horror movie character. Rose cracks a smile, but she feels nervous about the game. She says that since playing that game, she's starting to feel anxious. Seeing her friend freaking out over a silly game, Cadence offers to take her curse away from Rose. They play the game again, and this time the timer stops at Cadence's turn. The curse has now been moved away from Rose to Cadence. The night goes on without any weird incidents. However, the next night at her work, Cadence sees herself on the projector screen. She doesn't feel anything weird up to that point. But later she sees worms coming out of her mouth, and soon a man comes up behind her and stabs her to death. Seeing herself get killed, Cadence runs away and brings her friends to show them everything. But the projector is no longer showing her getting killed by a masked man. Thinking that it might have been a hallucination, Cadence lets it go away. She goes to her house and starts to play her guitar. It's raining heavily outside and the winds are strong. It looks like a storm is on its way. Cadence receives a call, and when she checks it, she finds herself reciting the spell of the game. The phone then shows her a message, "I'm coming for you." She throws her phone and the lights go out all at the same time. She gets her phone back and finds a message from Rose. Cadence replies that everything is okay, but she is definitely scared. The lights are gone, but her guitar starts to make noises all on its own. She unplugs it, but the noises don't stop. Finally, the lights come back on and everything gets back to normal. Rose calls her and asks her if she's expecting anything weird. Cadence replies that everything is normal, but she isn't paying attention to what's going on behind her. She checks her phone and finds a demonic face on it. At the same time, lights go out for the second time and Rose is outside her house. Rose is worried that Cadence might get hurt because of the curse of the game, so she wants to take the curse back from Cadence until they figure out how to stop it. They play the game again and Rose ends up getting the curse back on her. Rose is relieved and the storm also clears away. Next day, Rose visits Cadence and asks her to play the game. She wants to figure out the game together. Cadence agrees to it, and in exchange for playing the game, Cadence takes Rose to a party with her. In that party, Rose meets a guy named Justin, and they both seem to enjoy each other's company. Since Cadence had taken the curse over from Rose, she starts to hear weird noises in her head. She goes to the washroom to clear her mind, and she finds scary pictures of herself in her phone. She goes back to where Rose is and finds them talking about the Slender Man. The guy thinks it's just a stupid story, but Rose believes there might be some truth to it. Since they're talking about horror, Cadence dares Justin to play 47 hours with her, the same game she played with Rose. Rose tries to stop her, but Justin casually accepts to play the game. Cadence hands her phone to Justin, and the timer stops exactly at his turn. Now the curse is shifted away from Cadence to Rose's new friend Justin. Just then, they're interrupted by Lila, their classmate from school, and Justin's sister. Lila basically makes fun of them for believing in that game. She tells them that she played the game, but nothing happened to her in those 47 hours. Hearing that Lila survived the game, Rose believes that the game is just a hoax and that the curse isn't real. Next day, she goes to Cadence's house to wake her up. Cadence is hung up from last night's party and she remembers nothing from last night. She basically doesn't have any idea that she passed the curse to Justin, and Rose doesn't remind her that she played the game with Justin because she believes that the game is a fake, as Lila was still alive after playing the game. Rose goes to school and finds the whole school to be silent. She sees that the flags are raised down and everyone in school is mourning the death of somebody. It is then she finds out that Lila died last night. As soon as she hears this, Rose heads out of the class. She tells Cadence that Lila got the dates wrong. She still had hours left before her 47 hours were completely off. Due to her getting the time wrong, Lila lost her life. Cadence believes this is just a coincidence, but Rose insists that the curse is real. She goes out to meet Justin, who's mourning his sister's death. Rose tells him about the game and how it's killed his sister. She asks him to play the game with her so she can move the curse away from him to herself. But Justin doesn't believe her, and he thinks that Rose is making fun of his sister's death. So Cadence forces him to play the game with her and takes the curse onto herself. That night, Cadence receives a call from Lila, who asks for her help. She finds a huge cut on her chest and she starts to bleed. She gets in a lot of pain and passes out on the floor. Next morning, her mother finds her in the bathroom, and the huge cut on her chest, along with the blood, has all disappeared. Cadence tells Rose about everything, and together, they decide to figure out how to win the game. They search online and find an address to a person who might help them. They go to that address and they find the woman who runs the website where they found out about the game 47 hours. But the woman reveals that it was not her who wrote about the game. Numerous people write on her website, and the story about 47 hours was written by someone anonymous. However, she gives them the idea of the person who wrote about the game. With the help of a hacker, they manage to find the address of that person. They go to that address and find an old man who tells them that he has never written anything in his life, and he certainly knows nothing about any horror game. They're about to leave, but they get called by two girls from inside the house. The girls look really creepy, and they know that Rose and Cadence were there because they had played the game. They ask how long they have been playing the game, and Rose answers that it has been a week. The girls reveal that for the past 5 years, they have been passing the curse back and forth between themselves. They also reveal that they posted about the game because they believe that the devil will leave them alone if it gets someone else in their place. After finding out the truth, Rose and Cadence are scared. They don't want to end up like the 2 girls they met earlier. Before leaving, Rose takes the curse over from Cadence, and she immediately starts to hear weird whispering noises. Just like Cadence, she finds scary pictures on her phone, and her whole face starts to bleed and tear up. With every pass of the curse, the game was getting more and more intense. Next day at school, Cadence proposes to play the game with a death row inmate and pass the curse onto them. She believes that they'll die anyway, so they should do this to get rid of the curse. But Rose doesn't have it in her to let someone die with that game. That night, Rose goes to Cadence and asks her to play the game. They plan to do this until they figure out the whole game. Cadence at this point is a bit annoyed by all of this. She plays the game and the timer stops at her turn, but they both fail to see that the camera didn't click any picture. Next day, Rose realizes that the curse is still on her. She starts to get her messages from an unknown number. She immediately calls Cadence, but her boss at work takes her phone away. The news says that a huge storm is on its way. Rose has less than an hour before she passes the curse or she loses her life. She desperately tries to get out of school, but the doors are locked. She notices the school janitor and follows him to the bathroom, but it's all empty. She opens the door and finds a ghost, which charges forward and pins her down. Rose kicks the ghost and manages to run out of there. She finds the cheerleading team and asks them to play the game with her, but the girls call her a freak and don't believe her at all. Then one of them agrees to play the game. Rose gets happy and hands her phone to the girl, but the girl throws the phone away, completely smashing any hope that Rose might survive the curse. Now Rose has no option but to drive to where Cadence is. She drives her car in the storm and the weather starts to get worse. Her car gets hit by hail and Rose ends up crashing her car into a tree. The car catches fire and the door gets jammed. Rose somehow manages to get out of the car. The sirens wail, alarming everyone of an incoming storm. Cadence also leaves her work fearing that Rose might be in danger. And call it bad luck, Rose reaches there just minutes after Cadence left to find her. Rose immediately calls her and asks her to come back. Meanwhile, the storm is getting stronger and stronger. Cadence finally comes back, but before they can play the game, they notice a huge tornado is heading towards them. They both get inside the car, but the car gets caught in the storm and it gets pitch dark. Rose gets heavily wounded, and Cadence in a hurry makes her play the game. Rose takes the phone and recites the spell. She gives the phone back to Cadence, who is about to take the curse away from Rose, but unfortunately the phone dies, and they possibly can't continue the game. The 47 hours are up, and a huge chunk of debris comes falling from the sky and kills Rose in front of Cadence. Now the story of how Rose became a victim of the game gets circulated online. We see 2 teenage girls who read that story, and they don't believe the game to be real. One of them dares the other to play the game, who naively accepts it and ends up taking the curse. But the question that remains is, does this girl really not believe in 47 hours? Or is she just moving the curse away from her? Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more movie recaps.